You know that feeling?
Yeah.
It's visceral.
Oh, yeah.
You've just finished a sales call, and it wasn't just good, it was a killer call. The chemistry was electric. You could actually see the prospect's pupils dilate when you mentioned the ROI.
Mm-hmm.
You hang up, and you are buzzing with adrenaline,
Mm-hmm.
and then silence.
The crash.
The crash. You open your laptop, you click on PowerPoint, and there it is.
That white rectangle.
The blinking cursor,
Yeah.
the blank page. And suddenly, that adrenaline turns into absolute dread because you realize you have to spend the next 3 hours remembering exactly what you said, organizing it, and making it look pretty.
It's the worst feeling in sales. Honestly, it's a precise moment where the job shifts from solving problems to moving pixels around.
Right.
And that's where most deals die. They just lose momentum because the follow-up takes way too long.
Well, today we are declaring the death of the blank page. We're doing a deep dive into a specific architecture detailed by n8n that claims to build a 2026 AI system.
Yeah.
And the promise here is bold. A system that listens to your meeting and delivers a 90% finished slide deck to your inbox 3 minutes after you hang up.
And just to be clear for everyone listening, this isn't some vague, use ChatGPT to summarize notes advice. We are getting under the hood of a fully automated architecture using n8n, Fireflies, and Gamma. It's about building a machine that does the grunt work so you can stay in that deal-closing mindset.
So let's map this out. We're going to break this architecture down into the technical specifics. We'll look at the ears of the operation, how to capture data without losing nuance.
Right.
We'll talk about the brain, specifically a very clever AI persona designed to write persuasive copy, not just summaries.
The most important part.
And finally, the hands that actually build the slides. But first, the philosophy. The source material makes a really big point about splitting this into 2 workflows. Why? Why not just one straight line from audio to slides?
This is the classic newbie automation mistake. You try to build one giant Rube Goldberg machine where one trigger does everything.
Right.
The source argues for a modular approach. You have workflow 1, which is the logger. Its only job is to listen, clean the data, and store it. Then you have workflow 2, the generator, which creates the output.
It uses that analogy of Lego blocks versus carving a sculpture.
Exactly. If you carve a statue out of marble and you make a mistake, or you decide later you want to change the arm, you have to start over. You've ruined the whole stone.
Yeah.
If you build with Legos, you just swap a block. By separating the logging from the generating, you create scalability. Today, you might want a sales proposal, but tomorrow, maybe you need meeting minutes for an internal sync.
Or a project plan or something.
Or a project plan for a kickoff. If you have that foundational logger workflow running separately, you can plug in different outcomes without breaking the whole system.
So you're basically building a data reservoir first before you even decide where the pipes are going to go.
Exactly. You're decoupling the input from the output.
Yeah.
It's a safety net for growing businesses.
So why is this separation specifically so critical for a business that's scaling up?
Because it lets you add new deliverables like project plans or summaries without risking the stability of the core recording process.
Let's get into the weeds because that's where this gets really interesting. Workflow number 1, the ears. This starts with Fireflies.ai. Now, most people know Fireflies is that little bot that joins your Zoom calls. But connecting it to an automation system like n8n isn't exactly plug and play, is it?
No, not at all. And this is where people get stuck. You set up a webhook in n8n, which is basically a digital catcher's mitt, and you tell Fireflies, hey, throw the ball here when the meeting is done.
You check the box for transcription complete. Seems simple.
It sounds simple.
Yeah.
But there's a glitch, a significant one. It's the webhook response problem.
Right.
Fireflies is incredibly eager. It pings your automation the second the audio file is processed to say, hey, I'm done. But at that exact second, it sends almost no data. Just an ID. It's like a waiter running to your table to tell you your food is ready, but his hands are empty.
So you have the notification, but not the meal.
Precisely. And the problem is the AI summaries, the action items, the gist, the sentiment analysis. Those take another 30 to 60 seconds to bake after the audio is processed. If your automation grabs the data the moment that webhook fires, you get blank fields. You get broken automation.
So how do we solve this? The source describes something called a polling loop.
It's a very clever bit of engineering that mimics human patience. First, you insert a wait node.
Yeah.
You force the system to just pause, just breathe for 30 seconds.
Okay.
Then you make the request to Fireflies. But And this is key. You don't just assume it's ready even then. You use an if node. You ask the system, does the summary actually exist yet?
And if it doesn't?
The system loops back. It waits another 30 seconds and it asks again. It keeps checking until the data is actually there.
So it's essentially just checking the oven to see if the cake is ready.
That's it.
Yeah.
It prevents the system from serving you raw, unfinished data. It ensures reliability.
Why do we need to build a loop, though, instead of just waiting, say, 5 minutes to be safe?
Because speed matters.
Yeah.
You want the data as soon as it's ready, not 5 minutes later. But you can't grab it before it exists.
I love that. It's a patience mechanism built right into code. Now, once we have the data, the source mentions data hygiene. We're not just dumping raw text into a file.
Right.
But the source suggests using Claude, the AI model, to actually write the code.
Yeah, this is a massive unlock for non-technical people. The data coming out of Fireflies is in JSON format.
Okay, so for those who aren't developers, what exactly is JSON?
Think of JSON as a very specific, very rigid way of organizing data. It's like a filing cabinet where every folder has to be labeled exactly right. It can be messy and really hard to read for humans.
Right.
You might need to extract just the list of attendees or format the date so it doesn't look like computer gibberish.
And usually you'd need to know JavaScript to clean all that up.
Correct. But here, the hack is that you take that raw, messy JSON, you paste it into Claude or ChatGPT, and you say, I am using n8n. Write me a code node in JavaScript to extract the speaker names from this mess.
And it just does it.
It writes the code for you. You copy it, you paste it into n8n, and it works. You don't need to learn to code, you just need to know how to ask for the code.
That just lowers the barrier to entry so significantly. So we clean the data and then we log it. The destination here is a Google Sheet. Why log it to Sheets if we're just making a slide deck? Why not go straight to the slide generator?
Because you want a master brain. By logging every single meeting into a structured spreadsheet date, title, attendees, gist, meeting ID, you're creating a historical database. It creates a paper trail.
I see.
But more importantly, that new row in the spreadsheet acts as the trigger for the next step. It ensures you never lose a meeting's history, even if the slide generation fails for some reason.
So what's the primary strategic reason for logging everything to a spreadsheet first?
It creates a master database and acts as a reliable trigger for any future automation, so nothing is lost.
Okay, so we have our logger running. Every meeting is being recorded, cleaned, and neatly filed into a spreadsheet row.
Yep.
Now we move to workflow number 2, the generator. This is where the magic happens. The trigger is that new row in the spreadsheet.
Correct. But here is a nuance. We don't want to just blast out proposals for every single meeting.
Right.
If I have a 15-minute coffee chat with a colleague, I don't need a 10-slide commercial deck sent to my email.
That would be a little aggressive and a waste of computing credits.
Very. So we introduce a Human-in-the-Loop.
Yeah.
The automation sends the message to Slack. It says, meeting X just ended. Do you want to generate a proposal? And it gives you 2 buttons, yes or no.
I find this so interesting because usually automation is all about removing friction. But here we are deliberately inserting friction, a button you have to click.
It's strategic friction. You want the creation to be automated, but the intent to be human. If you click no, the system updates the spreadsheet to say generation declined, and it stops. But if you click yes, that's when we wake up the agent.
The proposal generator agent. Now, this isn't just a generic prompt that says, summarize this meeting. The source material is very specific about the persona we're assigning to the AI.
This is critical. I mean, prompt engineering is often the difference between a mediocre output and a really great one. The prompt here explicitly defines the AI's role. Expert Senior AI Solutions Consultant for Up.AI.
Up.AI being the fictional company in this example.
Right, you'd swap that for your own company. But the key is the title, Senior Consultant. It tells the AI to be confident, authoritative, and strategic. It changes the tone from a junior note-taker to a senior partner.
The constraints listed in the prompt are interesting too. It says, do not include internal notes, do not mention this was AI generated, and my favorite, make confident assumptions.
Ah, yeah. That confident assumptions part is scary but necessary.
Is it? I mean, that feels risky. If the AI guesses wrong on a number, couldn't that blow the deal?
It's a calculated risk. Look, if the client didn't explicitly say we lose $50,000 a year on this problem, but they hinted at it, you want the AI to estimate it.
Why?
Because a proposal with placeholders like insert number here looks unfinished. It looks like a template. A proposal that says estimated annual loss, $50,000, looks proactive. It gives the client something to react to.
So it's easier to correct a wrong number than to fill in a blank one.
Exactly. It shifts the conversation. If the number is wrong, the client corrects you, and now you have the real number. If you leave it blank, the client just ignores it.
The structure demanded by the prompt is also very rigid. 9 specific sections: executive summary, problem solution, ROI, roadmap.
It forces the AI to speak the language of business value. It's not just transcribing, it's translating. It takes, we hate doing this manual data entry, and turns it into operational bottleneck, resulting in 15 wasted hours per week.
So what is the main psychological shift we're trying to force the AI to make with this specific persona?
We are forcing it to be persuasive and client-facing, moving away from passive description to active sales.
So we have this persuasive text generated. Now we need to get it into a slide deck. And we're using a tool called Gamma for this.
Gamma is fantastic because it's not just a text-to-slide tool. It understands design. We use an HTTP request node in n8n to talk to Gamma's API.
This sounds technical. Walk us through what that actually means.
It's a little bit technical, but totally manageable. You're basically sending a digital package to Gamma. Inside that package, you tell it the theme, so it uses your company's colors and fonts, not some random template.
Okay.
You tell it the source for images. We're using DALL-E 3 here for unique visuals. And you paste in that structured text from the AI agent.
There's a specific replace function mentioned in the source, a bit of code cleanup before sending to Gamma, something about new lines.
Yeah, this is a classic gotcha in automation. Yeah. AI models love to output text with line breaks, tabs, quotation marks. If you feed that raw text into a JSON payload for an API, it breaks the code. It confuses the system because it thinks the code has ended when it hasn't.
So the system just crashes.
It crashes hard.
Yeah.
So you use a simple .replace function in JavaScript to smooth out those characters. It's like sanding down the rough edges of a puzzle piece so it sits into the slot. It replaces actual line breaks with the symbols for line breaks so the machine can read it.
And the result?
The result is a link.
Yeah.
It arrives in your inbox, you click it, and there's a fully built presentation. Title page with the client's name, an executive summary, a slide calculating the ROI, a roadmap slide.
Is the output actually ready to send right that second?
It's 90% there, and that's the honest truth. You still need to review it. Maybe the AI estimated the savings a bit too high. Maybe the tone is slightly too formal.
Right.
But you are editing, not creating.
Yeah.
And that is a fundamentally different cognitive load.
So ultimately, does this output actually remove the human from the process?
It just changes the human's role from writer to editor, which is much, much faster.
We're going to take a pause right here. We've built the machine, but when we come back, we're going to talk about a feature that I think is the hidden gem of this entire system, the on-demand trigger. Because what happens when you accidentally click no, we are back on the deep dive, we've built the logger, we've built the generator, we have our Slack button, but the source material brings up a very real human problem. What if I click no in Slack, but then a week later, I change my mind?
Right. Actually, that guy was interested. I really should send a proposal. If your system only works in real time, you're out of luck. The moment has passed.
So we need an on-demand feature, a way to go back in time.
The solution is a manual trigger, a form submission node in n8n. You go to your Google Sheet, remember our master database, copy the meeting ID, paste it into a simple form, and hit go.
But here's the engineering challenge. You now have 2 different ways to start the same process. Path A is the automatic path from the spreadsheet. Path B is the manual path from the form. How does the AI agent know which one to listen to?
This is where we get into what the author calls technical magic. It's all about standardizing inputs.
Okay.
Imagine 2 different roads merging onto a highway. The AI agent is driving on the highway. Doesn't care which road the car came from, it just needs the car.
So we need a traffic controller.
Exactly. We use a set node as a middle layer. It sits between the triggers and the AI. It looks at path A and path B and says, okay, whoever sent data, I'm going to map it to this one variable called JSON.transcript.
So whether the transcript came from the live automation or the manual form, the AI agent just looks for JSON.transcript.
Right. It decouples the source from the processor. It's elegant because it means you don't have to duplicate the entire AI workflow for every different trigger. You just map the inputs to the same variable names.
So why is this specific set node technique considered technical magic?
It allows you to use the same AI brain for multiple different triggers without duplicating your work.
Let's zoom out. We've built this system. It works. What's the actual impact? The source does some ROI math here.
Yeah, the math is compelling. It assumes you write about 2 proposals a week. Manually, that's maybe 3 hours each. That's 6 hours a week.
which is nearly a full workday.
Right. Over a year, if you're doing volume, say, 100 proposals, that's 300 hours. That is 7.5 work weeks.
Wow.
Almost 2 months of working time.
Just spent formatting slides.
Just spent staring at a screen, copy-pasting, adjusting font sizes, aligning boxes. And the competitor who has this system, they're using those 300 hours to meet more clients, to refine their pitch, or just to rest so they're sharper on the next call.
And the finished product isn't just text. It includes that ROI slide, the roadmap.
It looks professional.
Yeah.
It looks like you spent 4 hours on it. That perception of effort, it matters to clients. If you turn around a high-quality deck in 20 minutes, it signals competence. It signals that you have your act together.
It strikes me that the real value here isn't just time, it's cognitive bandwidth.
Oh, absolutely. The blank page syndrome is draining. It causes procrastination. You put off writing the proposal because you know it's going to be a slog. With this system, the friction is almost zero. You click yes in Slack. That's it. It changes your entire relationship with the work.
You know, we talk a lot about AI replacing jobs, but this feels different. This feels like AI enabling relationships.
That's the big idea here. AI agents don't replace the handshake. They don't replace the strategy. They replace the busy work. They eliminate the barrier between having a good meeting and asking for the sale.
If you are still formatting slides for 2 hours, you are technically doing the job, but you are falling behind.
You're fighting a war with a musket while the other side has laser-guided missiles.
A vivid image. So here is a final thought to mull over. We've talked about using this for sales proposals, but what happens when you turn this lens inward? What if you use the same logger and generator architecture for your own internal decision-making?
How do you mean?
Imagine an AI that listens to your team's internal debates and automatically generates a pros and cons document or a decision memo, completely free of the bias of whoever usually takes the notes.
That is fascinating. An objective historian for the company.
Oh.
That could change how meetings are run entirely.
Something to explore. Thank you for listening to this deep dive. Don't just read about the Lego blocks, go build them.
See you in the next deep dive.